The old Victorian house stood atop the hill, looking menacing against the night sky. Its broken windows and rotting wood made it seem abandoned, but John knew better. His grandmother lived in that house, alone, for as long as he could remember. As John walked up the creaking front porch steps, a glowing light flickered on in the foyer. The door swung open with a loud groan. "Welcome, dear," his grandmother said, her pale face breaking into a smile. She looked as frail as ever, her bony figure obscured by an old white nightgown. "How have you been, Grandma?" John asked, giving her a hug. She smelled of lavender and mothballs. "I've been well, my boy. Now come in, it's cold out here." John stepped inside the dark foyer, his feet sinking into the rotting wood floor. His grandmother closed the door behind him with a loud bang. The house was dimly lit by candlelight and kerosene lamps. Candles were clustered along tables and mantelpieces, casting flickering shadows all around. His grandmother led him into the parlor, where a large mirror hung over the fireplace. John looked away, unable to see his reflection gazing back at him. That mirror had always unsettled him. "Have a seat, dear," his grandmother said, gesturing to an old leather armchair. John sat down with a creak, watching as she stoked the fire to life. "How is that old mirror?" John asked, endeavoring to keep his voice steady. "It's been in the family for generations, you know." "The mirror is fine, dear boy," his grandmother replied. "It's a beauty, isn't it? A gift from my great-great-grandmother. We'll pass it down to your children one day, too." An uneasy feeling settled in John's stomach. He knew that mirror was not what it seemed. When John was a child, he often stayed with his grandmother during the summer. One day he got bored and wandered into the parlor alone. There he noticed something strange about the mirror. If you looked at it carefully, you could see the silhouette of a figure standing behind the glass. But there was no one there. He rubbed his eyes and looked again, but the figure was still there, vague and shadowy, as if waiting impatiently for something. John blinked hard again and the figure vanished. He told his grandmother about it, but she scolded him for having an overactive imagination. The mirror was just an old family heirloom, she said. As the years went on, John seldom visited his grandmother's house, but the memory of that strange figure in the mirror never left him. He wondered if it was a ghostly presence, trapped behind the glass for eternity. Now a grown man, John didn't really believe in ghosts, but that mirror still unnerved him. He glanced at its dark, reflecting surface, seeing only shadows and flickers of candlelight staring back. "Do you ever see anything strange in the mirror?" John asked casually. "Any shadows or figures?" "What an odd question," his grandmother replied. "That mirror is perfectly ordinary. It's been in the family for generations." There was no point in pursuing it further. His grandmother would dismiss any strangeness as mere superstition. They chatted for a while longer before John decided to head home. As he rose to leave, his grandmother grasped his arm firmly. "I wanted to give you something," she said, leading him over to a large desk against the wall. Inside was an old brass key on a chain. "This is the key to the house," she said. "The key that has been passed down in our family for years. I want you to have it now." John stared at the key in confusion and shock. Why was she giving him the key to her house? "But Grandma, I don't live here," he said. "I couldn't possibly—" "Take it, my dear boy," she insisted. "Our home and all our earthly possessions will be yours when I pass on. This includes the mirror, of course." John didn't know how to respond. He took the key with trembling hands, unsure if this was some strange prank or a sign of his grandmother's declining mental state. "Thank you, Grandma," was all he could manage. She smiled, her pale eyes glinting in the candlelight. As John left the house and walked back to his car, a sense of dread filled him. He kept seeing that dim reflection in the mirror, the shadowy figure, as if already staking its claim on its new home. The old Victorian house and its sinister mirror, now his inevitable inheritance. Years later, John's grandmother passed away. As much as he loved and missed her, John felt relieved to finally escape the house and that sinister mirror. However, according to her will, the house and all its contents were left to him. He had no choice but to go through it for valuables to sell. When John stepped inside the empty house, an eerie silence greeted him. Broken glass and cobwebs filled the corners. The rotting wood groaned under his feet as he walked. He headed straight for the parlor. There, the old mirror loomed as sinister as ever, reflecting nothing but shadows. As John approached the mirror to remove it, a strange shadow seemed to flicker in the glass. He rubbed his eyes and looked again, but it was gone. John grasped the frame and pulled the mirror away from the wall. Suddenly it came loose in his hands, crashing to the floor with an almighty bang. Broken glass scattered everywhere, but John noticed something strange about the mirror's back. There appeared to be a secret compartment or hidden door of some kind. A chill ran down his spine as he realized that mirror contained untold secrets. Who knows what had been kept inside it for generations? John stumbled back, his heart pounding. Whatever was contained within that mirror, it was best left undiscovered. He decided then and there to abandon the house altogether, mirror and all. He left the key on the porch where he found it and hurried back home, never to return. The old Victorian house remained empty, holding untold voices within its rotting walls. The sinister mirror, with its hidden depths, continued reflecting shadows that seemed to flicker and glance around vigorously, as if an impatient presence waited to be freed at long last.